A new report from NASA says the study of UFOs, also known as unidentified anomalous phenomena, requires new scientific techniques and a shift in how we think about these sightings. NASA's administrator says the panel of experts which produced the report did not find any evidence of extraterrestrial origin of these UAP, but couldn't find any terrestrial explanation either. For more, let's bring in CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood. Bill, it's good to be with you again. Anything else that stood out to you in this report?
You know, John, there's nothing like a report on UFOs to get people interested, right? You know, it's just like, I think the highlight is what you said. There's no evidence of any kind that there's any alien technology involved here, any visitors to Earth. But there are some interesting sightings by jet pilots and others that can't be easily explained. And so the report is recommending that NASA set up an office, and they're doing that, to utilize the agency's technology, its resources, to put this on a scientific footing. In other words, when they get a report of a UAP and they get video, for example, that they can better analyze it and come up with a better explanation for what's going on. They did say that they think that most of the ones they've looked at so far, you know, are of earthly origin. Whether some of those could have been advanced weapons being tested, things like that, you know, we just don't know yet. They're calling for better data, and that's the bottom line.
And the better data they're hoping to get, I would assume, I mean, A, it helps them answer these questions, but it's not just to answer, yes, we found something from way out there, but also there's been a lot of kind of conspiracy theories and a lot of social media chatter. It's basically to try to keep this on a kind of sane footing, right? To have actual data and a process to answer that chatter that surrounds each one of these sightings.
You know, that's exactly right. And I think one of the things they highlighted was the need to destigmatize reports of UAP sightings. In other words, you know, if a pilot sees something, sometimes they might hesitate to tell their superiors because they don't want to be thought of as a kook or somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. You know, I'm really reminded of the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. If you remember that, when that movie started, there's two commercial airline pilots talking to a flight controller, and the audience knows they're obviously looking at a UFO, but at the end of the exchange, the controller says, "Do you want to report anything?" And there's a pause, and the commercial pilots go, no, we don't want to report anything, because of that very stigma. So they really want to get rid of that and get more people to come forward with legitimate sightings.
And Richard Dreyfuss plays the guy who does take it seriously, and everybody thinks he has a screw loose. Let me ask you, Bill, NASA at first would not name the new director of the UAP program, but now they have. Mark McInerney. Was there any reason for the delay?
You know, this is interesting, too. They said during their presentation today that some of the members of their independent study board really got harassing emails from people in the public, even some threats. I mean, that's how this issue can motivate people in this age of social media to launch these attacks on people before anything's even happened, if you will. I think they were trying to protect the director, Mr. McInerney, but late today, I think, you know, a lot of reporters talked about how NASA was promising transparency, and yet they wouldn't name the director of their program, and so late today they did, in fact, name him. And I certainly hope he's got a secure email address.
Right. You can't investigate unidentified things with an unidentified director. Bill, final question. A Russian Soyuz spacecraft is launching on Friday morning with 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut on board. What do we know about that mission?
You know, it's a big deal. It's a standard crew rotation, but in this case, the 3 that are going up, the 2 cosmonauts and NASA astronaut Laurel O'Hara, they're replacing 3 Soyuz crew members that are going to be coming down on the 27th of September, and they've been up there for a full year. John, if you remember back in December, their Soyuz was hit by a micrometeoroid. It suffered a massive coolant leak, and the Russians ultimately deemed it was disabled and could not safely bring them home. So they launched a replacement spacecraft, but these 3, including NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, had to spend an extra 6 months in space. Think about that for a minute. But they're coming down on the 27th, and when they do, Rubio will set a new U.S. record for the longest single space flight, 371 days. So it's quite a milestone for him.
Right, that's a heck of a layover. Bill Harwood at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Thank you, Bill.